Karina baby, today is October the 5th, and we're going to read from our Year Full of Stories. Keys, Please, Louise. Whenever Louise's mama went out, she'd say, "Keys, please, Louise," and Louise would go to the key holder in the kitchen and fetch the right keys. There was a key for the front door, one for the back door, one for the garden shed. The car keys were always on the last hook at the end. One morning, Mama was in a hurry to drive Louise to school. Keys, please, Louise," said Mama. Louise ran to get them, but the car keys were missing. "They're not here," she shouted. "They must be," said Mama. Louise looked again, but the keys weren't there. Mama frowned and hunted for them. Louise helped too. She searched by the telephone, under a chair, and even in a wastebasket. Meanwhile, Mama was busy emptying her bag onto the table. Among the jumble of things were her wallet, 2 candies, a lipstick, 1 comb, and a ticket from the dry cleaners, but no car keys. Louise looked at her mama. She was wearing her favorite jacket with big pockets. "Have you looked in your pockets, Mama?" Louise asked. "Well, no," said Mama, suddenly rummaging in both pockets at once. And to her great surprise, the keys were in one of them. "How silly of me," said Mama, giving Louise a hug. "I remember now. I picked up this jacket from the cleaners yesterday and wore it home. I must have slipped the keys into my pocket." From then on, Mama always tried to put her keys back on the hook, which saved them both a lot of trouble. "Keys, please, Louise." Oh. Mama used to work outside the home a whole bunch, right? I would go from one job, come home, go to another job, come home. Or else I'd just go skip from one job to the next job and just keep going throughout my day. Well, when I eventually got home, I a lot of times would just fall apart when I walked in the door because I was so tired. Mama was only sleeping like 1 or 2 hours every day. And so every once in a while I'd lose my keys. And the one night I had to call into work and be like, "Look, I can't find my keys. I'm not coming in." And my supervisor was like, "Oh, that's okay." And I asked your papa, I'm like, "Will you please help me find these keys?" Sometimes he was okay with it, sometimes he wasn't, but I learned to really keep track of my keys and leave them on the hook. A lot of the times I left them in the front door, like, of the apartment that we were living in, but it was okay, though, because we were living in a 3-story, and we were on the 3rd floor, so, like, and our front door was always, like, on the bottom was always locked. It was a big red front door. And, you know, I understand that feeling, and you really do have to just keep track of your keys, put them in the same spot all the time, make sure you have a tether on them to make sure that you can see them, because if not, they do get difficult to find, and you don't want to lose keys. So that was a good storybook. Yesterday we did the 3 bears. Today we're doing Rumpelstiltskin. There was once upon a time, it happened one day that he had an audience. There was once upon a time a poor miller who had a very beautiful daughter. It happened one day that he had an audience with the king. And in order to appear a person of some importance, he told his majesty that he had a daughter who could spin straw into gold. "Now this is certainly a talent worth having," said the king to the miller. "If your daughter is as clever as you say she is, bring her to me, please, tomorrow morning." When the girl arrived the next day, the king led her into a room full of straw, gave her a spinning wheel, and spindle, and said, "Set to work and spin all night till early dawn, and if by that time you have not spun the straw into gold, you shall die." Then he closed the door behind him and left her alone inside. So the poor miller's daughter sat down and did not know what in the world she was to do. She had not the least idea of how to spin straw into gold, and at the last became so miserable that she began to cry. Suddenly the door opened, and in stepped a tiny little man who said, "Good evening, Miss Miller Maid. Why are you crying so bitterly?" "Oh," answered the girl, "I have to spin straw into gold for the king, and I haven't a notion how it is done." "What will you give me if I spin it for you?" asked the mannequin. "My necklace," replied the girl. The little man took the necklace, sat himself down at the wheel, and whirl, 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 the wheel went around 3 times, and the bobbin was full. Then he put on another, and whirl, 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 the wheel went around 3 times, and the second too was full. And so it went on till the morning, when the whole room full of straw was spun away, and all the bobbins were full of gold. As soon as the sun rose, the king came, and when he perceived the gold, he was astonished and delighted. But seeing it only made him more greedy than ever for the precious metal. He had the miller's daughter put into another room full of straw, much bigger than the first, and he bade her, if she values her life, to spin it all into gold before the following morning. The girl did not know what to do and began to cry. Then the door opened as before, and the tiny little man appeared and said, "What will you give me if I spin the straw into gold for you?" "The ring on my finger," answered the girl. The mannequin took the ring, and whirled around went the spinning wheel again and again, and when the sun rose, he had spun all the straw into glittering gold. The king was pleased beyond measure at the sight, but he was still not satisfied, and he had the miller's daughter brought into yet a bigger room full of straw. "You must spin all this away in the night," he said, "but if you succeed this time, you shall become my wife." She's only a miller's daughter," he thought, "but if I could not find a richer wife if I were to search the whole world over." When the girl was alone, the little man appeared for the 3rd time and said, "What will you give me if I spin the straw for you once again?" "I've got nothing more to give," answered the girl. "Then promise me, when you are queen, to give me your first child. Who knows what may happen before that thought?" The miller's daughter, and besides, she saw no other way out, so she promised. She saw no other way out. Sometimes things are done out of desperation, not because of any other reason. Sometimes people agree and obey because they have no other course of action besides from to agree and obey. That's why I like these stories, because they really teach you a lot about life. So the miller's daughter went, and besides, she saw no other way out. So she promised the mannequin what he demanded, and he set to work once more and spun the straw into gold. When the king came in the morning and found everything as he had desired, he straightway made her his wife, and the miller's daughter became a queen. When a year had passed, a beautiful son was born to her. She had forgotten all about the little man, till one day he suddenly stopped into her room and said, "Now give me what you promised." The queen was terrified and terribly upset, and offered the little man all the riches in her kingdom if he would only leave her the child. Babies are worth everything in the world. They are your entire world. They really are, Karina. You are my entire world, and I love you so incredibly much. But the mannequin said, "No, a living creature is dearer to me than the finest treasures in the world." The poor queen began to cry and sob so bitterly that the little man was sorry for her, and said, "I'll give you 3 days to guess my name, and if you discover it in that time, you may keep your child." Then the queen pondered the whole night over all of the names she had ever heard, and sent a messenger to scour the land, to pick up far and near any names he could come across. When the little man arrived on the following day, she began with Casper, Mulcher, Balthazar, and every other name she had ever heard. But at each one the Munchkin called out, "That is not my name." There they are. The next day, she sent an inquirer about the names to all the people in all the neighborhoods and had a long list of the most uncommon and extraordinary ready to ask the little man. "Is this your name? Perhaps sheepskins? Crooked skanks? Crooked shakes? Spinless shakes?" But he always replied, "That is not my name." On the third day, a messenger returned and announced, "I have not been able to find any new names, but as I came up the high hill around the corner of the wood, where the foxes and hares bid each other good night, I saw a little house, and in front of the house burned a fire, and around the fire danced the most rotundous little man, hopping on one leg and crying, 'Tomorrow I brew, tomorrow I bake, and then the child away I'll take, for little deem my royal dame that Rumpelstiltskin is my name.'" Imagine the queen's delight at hearing the name. And when the little man stepped in shortly afterwards and asked, "Now, my lady queen, what is my name?" She asked first, "Is your name Conrad?" "No." "Is your name Henry?" "No." "Is your name perhaps Rumpelstiltskin?" "Some demon has told you that! Some demon has told you that!" screamed the little man. In his rage, he drove his right foot so hard into the ground that his leg sank it up to his leg sank it up to his waist. Then, in a passion, he seized his left foot with both of his hands and tore himself in two. Okay. So in this one, he tore himself in two. And the other one said the earth swallows him up. Alright, baby cakes. That was the story before today. That was Rumpelstiltskin. And that is a good book because it shows that the woman had really no choice but to have Rumpelstiltskin spin the straw into gold to save her own life. And then she did everything she possibly could to save the life of her baby. She got 3 days to guess the names of this little man who wanted to take her baby away. And she did. She guessed his name by going out and having people score the land for her and find out all the names that they possibly could. Alright, baby cakes. Let's do Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious was that grace thus far, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, snares, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home when we're Then there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no last days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Karina, baby, I miss you, and I love you, and I can't wait to see you, honey. How about, Bully Dungeon Now, so help me, Bob, and Bully in the alleyway, Bully in the alley, so help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, Bully Dungeon Now. There once was a girl that I loved dearly, way, hey, Bully in the alley. Once was a girl that I spliced nearly, Bully down a shimbo now. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, way, hey, Bully in the alley. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, Bully down a shimbo now. All she did was dilly and dally, way, hey, Bully in the alley. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, Bully down a shinbo now. I left my girl to go a-sailing, way, hey, Bully in the alley. Left my girl to go a-whaling, Bully down a shinbo now. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, way, hey, Bully in the alley. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, Bully down a shinbo now. If I ever get back, I'll marry little Sally, way, hey, Bully in the alley. Have 6 kids and live in Shimon Alley, Bully down a shinbo now. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, way, hey, Bully in the alley. So help me, Bob, and Bully in the alley, Bully down a shinbo now. Oh, Karina, baby, I love you. I love you so much. That's what mamas do. Mamas love their babies. Because that's, once you have a baby, that's what your entire world is really about. It's all about your baby. And all I want to do is just get back to you. Let's do, oh, the grand old Duke of York had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, and then he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up, and when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. Alright, baby cakes, let's do Lila Tove. Lila Tove, and good night to you. Lila Tove, may your dreams come true. We sing Lila Tove, may Israel protect you throughout the nights until we reach the morning lights. I love you, Karina. I love you so very much. Mama misses you. I miss you and I love you. I can't wait to see you, honey. Like Papa used to always say, Papa's my moon, Mama's Papa's sun, and you are quite literally our rainbow baby, and we love you. We both love you so much. We miss you, honey. I miss you. I miss you so much. It's really, really hard, and all you want to do in your life is be a good mama and a good wife. And when that's taken away from the person that just wanted that, it makes life really, really hard. But Mama and Papa are going to be working together, and everything is eventually going to be okay. It's not okay right now, but it will be. Just know I love you, and know I miss you. I love you, baby.